Hey, what's up? This is Zach here at the Paris Media House with Bibin Babu. So great to have you here. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk about Pacio. Before we kind of dive into everything, do you want to give a quick introduction of like yourself and the company?
Yeah, sure. Thank you to Genzio and your team for having me. It's the first engagement in Paris, and it seems really wonderful. So yes, I'm the co-founder of Pacio. We are actually world's simplest Web3 fintech application. Uh, and why do I say that is with all the research in the last 9 to 10 months, we figured out that if you need to get a lot of users onto crypto, that is only possible by making it simple, right? Because even today, I'll dive into it deeply, whilst we take this conversation forward. But just to set the context right, what I've understood is even today, if you have to explain somebody a simple crypto transaction, it is somewhere close to a rocket science. I it took me like at least 4 or 5 days to make my father understand, who has been probably the guy who taught me about digital payments, when I was a kid. Uh, so we understood that the major problem is that, and most importantly, we are fans of global citizenship, and global citizenship can only come when people who don't use crypto get very much comfortable in using crypto, and that's only possible making it simple. So yeah, I mean, as I said, Pacio is the world's simplest Web3 fintech application.
Amazing. So thank you so much for coming here today and kind of breaking that down. Can you talk about maybe the why you wanted to build this? Like talk about kind of like your inspiration or maybe the problem that you were trying to solve.
Yeah, so this actually started like 7 to 8 months back. One of my friends actually works in the aeronauticals part of the world in Brussels. He was visiting us, and he was trying to make me understand about rocket propulsion. And he put across a slide, in front of me on his laptop, and he tried explaining it to me, and I couldn't understand even a bit. Right, I'm a science student, but
I
yet.
mean, I wouldn't understand. Yeah.
Um, and then on the weekend, I was explaining um, cryptocurrency transaction to my father whilst my friend was sitting. And he suddenly said that, Bibin, how is it any different from what I was explaining it to you a week back? Your father doesn't understand exactly the way you didn't understand. And that's where the spark happened. And I thought, why? I mean, we, all the Gen Zs and the people in the crypto world, talk about crypto being the revolution. Revolution makes people's life easy, right? It brings freedom, not not the thought that how will I get into it, how will I benefit from the revolution. And that's what started the thought of building Pacio. That can we build a platform which makes people's life easier. People can use their crypto assets exactly the same way they use their fiat assets. And since I come from a fintech background, so one of my first successful companies was a fintech platform in fiat in India, and I was able to take a good exit from it.
Like a money transfer platform or
Yes, it was not just a money transfer platform. It was a payments platform, a
payments.
retail payments platform.
Oh, very cool.
People could just go to stores, use that app, make payment, buy coffee, buy milk, buy anything what they want to, pay their bills, pay fees for their kids, and so on and so forth. We were pretty much early before the giants in India came over. However, we did tap a very good market. We clocked revenues around close to $80 million,
You
and
said 880?
80, yeah, yeah.
Holy wow.
And
Congratulations.
yeah, so never raised money in it. We were a bootstrap company, and got an exit from that. Moved on to crypto and the Web3 in the industry. Built an NFT marketplace
What was
during.
that? The name
It
of
was, it
that?
was
Can you
called as
say?
Collection.
Okay.
It was actually one of the first licensed NFT marketplaces for celebrities.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and we got a lot of support from the investors. We raised close to $20 million. That was the NFT wave that year, and again, we were actually moving towards gamification in that, and I again took an exit from it because I understood that probably the game in the NFT space is going to be a little slower than exactly what I want to do. So I want to make a larger impact and a faster impact, um, and hence the second exit came in. I was on a break for a while, was helping a couple of friends in what they're building in the Web3 space. And eventually this happened 8 months back. And I said, time to be back in the game, time to be the founder again. So I'm trying to use my experience, which I got in my fiat part of the world in fintech, and bringing that to Web3. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do in Pacio. Of course, there are a lot of facts which back this, and the facts are in terms of numbers because you might be aware that the fiat payments industry is close to $3.5 trillion. And if we talk about crypto, we're not even 1% of it. 1% is, I'm talking about a really high number, not even 0.5%. One major reason is because people are not yet able to adapt to it. They're not able to trust it. It still, as I said, sounds like rocket science to them.
Or they hear about FTX and they hear about...
And yes, exactly. Right. The emotions around it is not great yet. All of this can only come, this is very subjective, but all of this can only come when the people who deal with money daily, which is like the housewives, the women, your grandparents.
85% of household spending in the US is done by women. I'm sure around the world
Exactly.
it's similar. Yeah.
So if you're able to get them on board, that's when we actually can achieve mass adoption. I'm not saying that we will reach 95% of the fiat market. I'm talking about probably reaching 5% of the fiat market. And that's my vision, that can I get the next 100 million people onto crypto by only making it simple to use. I have a very basic, how do we say, a vision, I would say, very basic, but it will bring in a lot of, a higher impact in all the other Web3 applications and Web3 sectors which we're trying to build.
So in the most, basic way possible, can you break down what the app does?
Okay, simple. So there are 4 major features of Pacio. One is that I can make crypto transfers using a mobile number.
A phone number?
Phone number. I'll just write a number on the app.
Any international number?
Any international number. We are right now. So as we speak here, the public version of the product goes live on the 10th.
Wow.
At Paris Blockchain Week.
Okay.
So it's a momentous visit for me in Paris and Pacio, as a team. So from the 10th onwards, close to 70 odd countries would be able to access this platform, and 70 plus international numbers, codes can be easily accessed, which means I can just write a name and send let's say 100 USDT or 100 USD, I would say, and whatever assets you have, it gets deducted from that. And most importantly, you don't need to keep your assets in Pacio wallet. You can still continue to use your existing wallet, that can be a Trust or a Binance or a Coinbase or whatever, and use Pacio to make that transfer to your friend or a merchant or whomever you want to pay, just putting the number.
It's like the integration.
Exactly.
So you guys say pay with Pacio.
Yes.
That's cool.
Right.
That's cool.
And second feature is we've all been talking about financial inclusion in the third world countries. We've not been able to yet do it fully at the fiat part of the world, but we at Pacio want to also get those people onto this bandwagon, where hence we are offering offline feature, which means Pacio also functions offline.
How does that work?
Yeah, we'll dive that deep into that. It's really interesting. In the African part of the world, this the third world countries where internet penetration is yet not really great. Our mission is to offer Pacio to that part of the world as well. So it functions offline. It is chain agnostic, and most importantly, it also is functional in in-store payments. So as I said, I'm bringing back my experience from the fiat
Can
part.
you talk anything else more about like how that works offline?
Yeah, of course. I mean, in fact, I'm very excited about it because I've been reading about it for a while. So it's not something new which we have built. Right? I'm being brave as a founder there to say that in terms of offline payments, it's an existing technology which is being used by a lot of banks to do offline banking. So how does it work in offline banking is the mobile still has a mobile network and not the internet. So there's an encrypted message which goes, from the phone to the server, of the network, and it talks to the bank server. So that encrypted message talks to the bank server, and the fiat transaction happens. Exactly the same way, what we have done is,
It's like a text.
yes, we've used that in the Web3 space. So in this case, that message would speak to the Web3 server or the server of Pacio, and Pacio interacts with the remaining layer which they have, or whatever balances they have in their wallet. Of course, for that feature, they would have to, the users would have to keep some balance in the Pacio wallet, because that works, that's a offline function. And whenever these systems are back online, it gets synced totally.
No, that's amazing. And I mean, I know I still want to hear the other two features, but I just want to pause on this because I think this is really important. In its developing countries, and it's also places where there's just things like rampant inflation, and that's not always like in Cuba, for example, or places where the government is like essentially restricting the access, the flow of funds, where like they can just control essentially the price of things, so your money doesn't matter. This is a great way where you could store your money, because they don't have great internet access. They all can text, but the internet access is terrible. So
absolutely. And I'll actually be honest in telling that when did this actual idea came in? It came in from one of the recent wars which happened, which were happening, and one part of the country was having zero access to internet or electricity. Right? They could send texts, but there was no internet. So in adverse conditions like that, or maybe a natural calamity happens and there is no internet working, or a war, and if people have to actually get their basic needs met, they have money and they can't use it, what's the point of having all the amazing technologies which were built all this while? And that's where the idea we came in, and we thought, why can't we use the same tech which is used in offline banking for crypto?
So is there other companies doing crypto offline too, or is this kind of new?
We are the first one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We are the first one who are doing this. So overall, we have built this tech, and we got it patented. We have a patent in the UAE.
Congrats.
Applied in the US, UK, and China. And we're glad that we have some kind of backing coming from the companies like NVIDIA.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, and in fact, Mark is our advisor. He's the CEO he's actually the director for Middle East, Africa, and the Asian region. So he helps us, and people like them who are advisors to us actually help us make the tech much better. And when I say better, I would say simple and not complex.
Like, is all this abstracted? Like, it's like the user doesn't need to know how it's all working.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So if you look at any retail revolution which came in, it was because the customer still doesn't know how things work, and it works like a magic.
Like an iPhone.
Like an iPhone.
You can pick it up and use it. Yeah.
Exactly. Like a Spotify or anything for that matter, or Uber. Let's face it. Online booking of cabs became so popular because it became simple.
Yeah.
Fiat currency transactions became so much in high volumes because it became simple.
Apple Pay for
booking hotels became amazing because it became simple, right? Dating became easier because became prominent because of.
I don't know if it's simple, but no, I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, we can debate about that, but yes. So those are actually the features of Paycio.
What are the other two? Because those are the first two. The offline.
The first is the mobile number.
So offline, and then
yes. Third, in-store payments. So we can
you
can actually walk into a store, use your crypto assets and make payments. We call it swap to pay. You can use your assets. We kind of right now support around 10 assets, the top 10. You can use those assets and make payments and pay your bills. You can buy a coffee. Why just coffee? You can just maybe buy a beer, um, uh, pay for your kids' fees, um, pay for your girlfriend's Gucci bag.
Hey, let's chill out. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and in a way, I also want Pacio to enable trust from a lot of this might be now controversial, but I want the governments and the regulators to trust crypto. Today, it is so they also have a concern. So let's face it, they don't understand all of it very well yet.
Yeah.
That's one major fact.
I mean, we live in the U.S. They're very tough.
Yeah,
on crypto.
they don't understand it well.
They don't understand it
They
all.
don't understand
the
it well.
average age, the average age of a U.S. senator?
Well, I might want to know that now.
What I know. Do you want?
I'll guess.
Do you want to
I'll guess. I'll 45.
75
Oops.
is the average age. So do you think they understand crypto? No, my point is they don't. They don't. They're really old. They're out of touch. So you said 45. The average age is 30 years older. That's the people that are making these decisions. So it's crazy. So we don't need to get into that rabbit hole, but you're absolutely right.
So what do? We do Vitalik for president?
Let's go, baby. That'd be amazing. But yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. Governments don't trust it, especially in the U.S.
Yeah. So I mean, in a way, when we make it simple, when we have a push from the retail, the common man, of accepting crypto, I believe the governments of the world will not have an option than actually looking deep into it and making it accessible and easier and tax friendlier. So I mean, in a longer run, maybe 10 years from now, I see Pacio playing a role in that. And of course, I mean, if we get 100 million people on board, and when I say 100 million people, I'm not being very how do we say? I'm not being very greedy that I want 100
You're
million.
thinking very internationally.
Yes, exactly, and that's the reason when we're launching public product on the 10th, we're making it live for almost 70 countries. Yes, of course. When there is, I also want to emphasize that when we talk about in-store payments and there is a conversion to fiat happening, that will always be, as per the law of the land, wherever this is happening or wherever the user is from or their KYCs
So
are from.
you went into all these, you say 70 countries, is that right?
Not really. I really wish I could, but we have not gone to all of these 70 countries. But what we have done is we have found partners in a few of those countries where we have not visited.
No, I mean, like, you've gone through all of the rules and regulations for all of them.
Yes. Yes. And so we have done a bit of research. And as I said, I always keep saying this in whenever I talk to. I'm a student of Web3. I will have to be a student of Web3 for another 10 years to make at least 1% impact. So maybe I'm making a 0.0001% impact now. But by the time I become a graduate in this part of the industry, I think I'll be able to make at least 1% impact. That's what as an entrepreneur I'm looking in this space. But yes, I'm going to be the foot soldier of getting crypto to mainstream.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So we've got offline payments, phone number, in-store, and then quick swap.
And why do I say that? The fourth is that we're chain agnostic. It's not just for EVM assets, or if we're also for non-EVM assets. We totally function cross-chain. So and in a way, what we have trying to do in terms of the tech verbiage would be blockchain assimilation. That's the word I would want to put. But then all of that doesn't really make a lot of sense for the retail users. But yes, for your listeners who are developers, who understand deep in tech, what we're trying to do there is blockchain assimilation so that we can interact with all blockchains. And we want to make it, again, I'll repeat simple, because I don't want my customers to be anywhere worried about what is happening in the background. So at the tech part, we're doing our blockchain acceleration. At the legal part, we're taking care of. We're figuring out all the regulatory bodies in all the countries wherever we're going to be functioning. Because we also need to take care of the users' interest. I mean, from a legal perspective, right? We may be away from out of a lot of jurisdictions. We may not face music, but the users may. So we have to be careful about that as well. So we're doing that. So I will repeat. Crypto transactions using mobile numbers. You can make offline payments. You can do in-store payments, and we are chain agnostic. So that's major 4 features, of Paycio.
Is it an app? Like, will it be an
It's a mobile app.
It's a mobile, as an iPhone?
Yes. So on the 10th, we go live on Android. It's already there, but for the public, the newest version goes live on the 10th. And for iOS, it goes live on the 21st.
Okay, so I got a little bit longer to wait. That's okay. Maybe I'll get it.
So yeah,
that's okay. I'm gonna have to get an Android maybe I'll get an Android just to get it on.
Yeah,
the 10th.
but we would make our close community, the application will be available for them to test.
Oh, that's
before
super
going
cool.
live. So I would be happy to get your feedback. In fact, even through your show today, I mean, it's going to be an appeal. It's going to be a request to your community.
Yeah, check it out, guys.
To check
Definitely
it out.
Check it out. We'll link it in.
Yes,
we'll link it in here and everything.
And give us feedback. Bitch about it if it is pathetic. Give us inputs that you can make it better like this or that. And we would love to have you on board, not just as a user, but as a contributor. So maybe, I mean, a Web3, a payments application for the first time would have contribution coming from all part of the world, all part of the developers to make it better.
So like open source it.
Yes.
Is it going to be open source?
Yes, it's going to be open source. So the underlying technology will make it open source, right? We call it Unified Crypto Payment Interface. It's called UCPI. So that's what we actually, it's patented, but we would love to make it open source and available for developers to play with it, integrate it in their local local regions wherever it's required. The merchants can start using it. We would eventually will have an API for merchants to integrate, so that they can take crypto payments easily. Maybe like how do we say, maybe an Uber can integrate it, and people can
like PayPal
or
right? Apple Pay or.
I will now again tell you a quick story here.
Tell me.
A few months back, not a few months back, in January, I was in China, and to book a cab or to do anything was literally impossible because your cards don't work there.
Oh, really?
And in a lot of places, right? I don't know if I'll be bashed for this by taking name of the country. I mean, I love Chinese food.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, it's good to know. I haven't been there.
Yeah, I love the people. But
this is good for me to know. I don't want to go there and all my cards get declined.
Yeah,
that's rough.
It's not. The payments were not happening using cards. It was not easy at all. And not because they don't want to, but then maybe there are limitations from the regulatory bodies in various parts of the world.
It's not seamless.
Yes, it's not seamless, and it's a beautiful country.
So you want to go explore.
We want to go and explore.
You want to spend money there.
Yes, and you're not
like,
able.
Look, you're just like, take my money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a platform like ours, which can be integrated to maybe their DD, which is their Uber, their Uber, or a WeChat, the life of people can become so easy who want to travel to China, or any kind of any similar region or country. So as I'll repeat this all my talk, that I want to make it accessible and easy for people to use their money.
Yeah. So when you say that, because I think a lot of people, we have this like the type of people that we're talking about, it's like a very, very broad spectrum.
Yes.
We're saying people who don't have an internet,
yes.
and then potentially people here in, let's say, Paris, who want to buy a baguette, with some Dogecoin maybe, or some Bitcoin or whatever, where do you see the majority of the users coming from?
I actually see the majority of the users coming from the gaming part of the world. When
gaming?
Yeah.
Gaming?
Yeah. Huh. Why? Because if you look at the numbers, majority of crypto transactions today if it's happening apart from trade and all, it's happening on gaming platforms,
Yeah.
right?
And I'm a gamer, so
Yeah.
I love video games.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
So I see a lot of adoption coming from a merchant side, from a business side or B2B side, coming from the gaming platforms first. However, in terms of the retail users, I think most of the Gen Zs, I mean, just like
Genzio, let's go. Yeah.
would be the initial bunch of users which we onboard, who would love to use the profits which they're made in a particular token or something, for whatever they want to use in their daily lives, and then it will gradually move towards, as I said, the most important segment, which is the homemakers, the housewives, the women. That would be the next set of users which come on board, and those are going to be my favorite, because they would actually lead the mass adoption. It's not going to be the Gen Zs, to be honest. It's going to be them, because as you rightly said, 80% of the decisions on spending is made by them, and they are the people who also hold assets, be it in terms of gold, be it in terms of cash, right? I'm not talking about the billionaires and the millionaires and the whales and the sharks, but common people, right? So we want, I think Mr. Satoshi actually wanted this to be a revolution for the retail, a revolution for common man, and that is exactly what we're trying to achieve.
No, I love that. Okay, so just because we're kind of here in Paris, I want to take it back to what we're doing here. Why did you guys decide to come to Paris Blockchain Week?
So first, I think it's an amazing conference which happens here. Last year was superb.
We really like the team. Emmanuel, the CEO, is coming. Is
yeah.
coming to do an interview here too as well.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, Emmanuel is doing a
we
great
love them.
job.
We're partners with their. We're very close with them as well. We really like them.
Great job. And I would actually want to mention Nathaniel. He's also part of the team, and he's a great support for the Web3 founders. We need people like Paris Blockchain Week team, like Emmanuel, Nathaniel, to make this industry really big, because we really, even though we say that we are a close community, we are yet to get the real kind of support which is needed for the founders, right? And when I say support, the support is not always about funding. It's about advices. It's about giving them access to each other's network.
It's community.
Yeah,
I mean, as a founder, I completely get it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we need more support, and I think Paris Blockchain Week team is an amazing support to Web3 founders. So I absolutely love them. Secondly, I see a lot of I kind of predict a lot of movement in the crypto space to happen in Europe.
I agree. Yeah.
Right. And if you look at the growth in the last few years, it's been phenomenal in this part of the world, right? And probably in this part of the world, I think Paris will must become the capital of Web3 revolution. So I see that happening, probably in the next 3, 4, 5 years. So that's
why do you think Paris?
One, because there are amazing set of founders who are coming in from this part of the world, building good products, and you guys are lovely. You guys are always.
We're not Parisian.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think
you guys are lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right. You guys are lovely.
Right.
And I completely agree.
And you're very adaptive. And I see. And as I said, since the population here is aging. Right. They again. In spite of that, they've been very responsive. Towards the Web3 revolution. So I see a lot of movement happening in this part of the world. So that's another reason. And lastly, who says no to Paris?
Yeah, that's so true. It's awesome. I love coming here. What would you tell others who are maybe deciding if they want to go to Paris Blockchain Week and they're watching this, and maybe they don't know that much about crypto? Do you think this is a good event for someone who's just starting to learn? Would you say it's more of an industry insider, experts? Any advice on that?
So I was actually going through the agenda, the list of speakers, and the people who are putting booths and attending. I feel it's a mix of everything. and advise. I mean, people who are probably just entering the space. I think it's a very good conference to be at, because you find the startups who are like us, who have just started, plus the established ones, like Stellar, Circle, Near, and so on and so forth, Binance, for that matter. And also you find various sectors. It's not just one, not just focus on L1s, or it's not just, it has L1s, it has L2s, it has ZKs, it has gaming, it has payments, and more, and DeFi, and Deepin, and whatnot. So people who are just entering the space, it's lovely for them, because A, you get to hear from the experts. B, you actually get to see what's exactly happening, and you can probably listen, learn, and decide where do you actually start. What's going to be your first pick? So yeah, that's my 2 cents on Paris Blockchain Week.
Awesome. And okay, last question. How do you think the market's gonna? Do you think it's gonna continue to roll up? Like, how are you feeling for the next 2024?
Oh, I'm super pumped.
Okay.
Super pumped about
Let's
the market.
go.
I'm super pumped about the market. Not just because of the BDC, hitting its good number, but also, I mean, if you look at other, tokens and L1s they're doing fantastic. Of course, the ETFs have done a little bit of help there, in terms of moving the emotions towards positive. So I see it going to be probably one of the best years which the crypto industry has seen. If you ask me a number, I do think it will hit above 100. BTC will hit above 100. I see ETH, going 10K plus. So I'm being very, very bullish, and I'm not just bullish on the numbers which these assets going to hit. I'm bullish on the user numbers which are going to come, and hit the market. I think this is going to be the year where the growth percentage of users into crypto is going to be the maximum. If that takes BTC to the all-time high, lovely. If it doesn't, it's okay. But the number of users, adopters, are going to be the highest in terms of percentage this year. That's what I am bullish about.
And do you think that's gonna come in through gaming, Deepin,
Yes.
where?
I feel so. Okay, so gaming has been the pilot for a lot of industries, right? I mean, gamers have been become the launch pad for almost every industry which has become digital. So yes, gamers are going to be my number one. Second is going to be RWAs, right? Because the moment people are able to relate Web3 and the world out there, and the assets out there, or their daily lives, the adoption rate becomes higher because it's easier for them to relate. And why also RWA? Because it brings in inclusion. If I want to be a part of something really big, and I cannot because it's really high ticket size, with RWAs I can be part of it. So that's inclusion. And whenever there is inclusion, there is higher adoption of a tech, or an asset class.
The lower barrier of entrance.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
for
Low
sure.
barrier in entrance. And lastly, I think DeFi would play a role, because people have started understanding of that there has to be less control on their own money by somebody else. So that they do understand. I see these three industries actually leading the adoption, and within that falls payments, which is my industry. I mean, all payments is interrelated in all these. So I see adoption coming there. So as I said, I'm bullish on, really, really, really bullish on this year for getting the highest adoption rate.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. Really appreciate you coming through to our media house in Paris. Make sure to follow Paycio on X, or anything else you want to shout out, your personal account, anything you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, please, follow us and reach out to us on X as Pacio, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Discord, on Telegram. We are all the same name. My name is Bibin Babu, and if you have things to share with me, or interact with me, or bitch about me, just reach out to me at Bibin Babu. I'm available on all the platforms with this name. And please do follow Genzio. Uh,
Yeah,
Amazing
definitely follow
bunch
us.
of people.
Thank you.
And doing a great job. And I look forward to the impact which you bring via your platforms in this space for developers, for founders, and for retail.
Thank you. Well, we're here to provide a platform. We love doing it. It's been an honor, honestly. I'm just incredible the amount of cool people that we get to meet in this space every day. It's honestly just like, overwhelming, like in a really good way. Like the amount of diversity in terms of projects and thoughts and ideas is amazing, and it really keeps me excited about this space. So
Lovely.
yeah, thank you so much, and
Thank you.
hope everyone has a great day. Cheers.
Have a great day. Thank you.